The night of our anniversary, husband left with first. He wired me 5 million, she's back. Be reasonable, buy yourself some happiness. Without a word I phoned movers and stripped the mansion bare, right down to the imported marble tiles. I even left behind a 50-slide stay-at-home boarding presentation. When he pushed open the door with True on his arm, all that greeted them was a bleached-out concrete shell. He told himself I was throwing a tantrum, he didn't know the divorce agreement was already signed. Once he believed I was servile to the bone, unable to breathe without him. Only when the big clients started canceling contracts did he realize I'd been the power behind the curtain. Cut the firewood from under the cauldron, that's the perfect revenge on toxic. 01 Today is my 3rd wedding anniversary with Preston. I started dinner prep at 3 in the afternoon, Buddha jumps over the wall, matsutake chicken soup, steamed grouper, garlic lobster, every dish he once claimed he loved. The steam fogged my makeup and I didn't bother retouching. 6 o'clock, the food was on the table. 7, the dishes had cooled, I reheated them. 9, I warmed everything a second time. 11, I sat staring at the glossy, congealed leftovers under the chandelier. My phone lay mute, no buzz, no calls. The grandfather clock ticked, each second mocking me. Midnight sharp, the screen finally lit. I snatched it reflexively, but it wasn't a call, just a transfer notification. 5 million, credited instantly. Preston's iMessage followed, she's back, not coming home tonight. Take the money and buy yourself something fun. Be good. She. Luna. The first who rents permanent space in his head, the woman who made him zone out at our wedding, the one he never mentions yet never forgets. I stared at the line for a long time. In the past I'd answer okay, husband, then tidy up and pretend nothing happened. This time I didn't. I set the phone down, walked to the living room safe. The code is my birthday, Preston called it his promise to me. Inside I grabbed the black card he'd given me and a single file. Divorce agreement. I'd drafted it 6 months earlier, every clause, every split of property, every detail vetted by my lawyer so there were no loopholes. I signed on the dotted line, Serena. The pen scratched softly, yet it sounded like a gavel ending something sacred. Done. I phoned a top-tier removal firm. How may I help? I'm moving. Come now, empty the place. Everything? You mean, everything. Furniture, appliances, decor, clothes, shoes. Even the art on the walls. Leave nothing. The agent hesitated, then recovered, right away, ma'am. I hung up, opened the transfer, and tapped accept. 5 million, mine without guilt. Preston assumed I'd splurge on bags, jewels, things he thinks make women happy. He never noticed I haven't touched a dime of his in 3 years. My own company is small but keeps me plenty comfortable. I never wanted money. I wanted him to come home for anniversary dinner. That's all. At 1:30 a.m. the crew arrived. A dozen guys packed at lightning speed, living room to bedrooms, study to kitchen, every item boxed and rolled away. I watched them carry off the bed we bought after the wedding, the leather sofa he said was so me, the cold plates of food still on the table, china and all. 3 hours later the mansion looked the way the developer handed it over. Hollow. Icy. A concrete husk. I took one last look at the place I'd called home, turned, and left. Meanwhile, at the airport, Preston pushed a luggage cart, beside him a slender woman in a white sundress, eyes puffy, face fragile. Preston, I really don't want a hotel, Luna murmured, tugging his sleeve. Can I see your place? I need to know how you've lived. He hesitated, thinking of me, of the date. Then he rationalized, Serena's easygoing, she won't mind. And I've given her 5 million, enough to keep her smiling for days. All right, let's go home, he said, smiling. An hour later the Bentley stopped at the gates. Preston swiped the fob, swung the door open, and froze. Luna peered past him. Preston, are you still renovating? Renovating? He stared at the cavernous void, white walls, gray floors, zero furniture, zero curtains. Not a cushion, not a picture frame. Was this even his house? His hand hung in midair, mind blank. 02 Preston's face petrified the instant he saw the mansion. He hadn't expected the woman who always chirped okay, husband to vaporize their life so completely. Not a simple move, an erasure. Drapes, rugs, the paintings he'd called artsy, even the amber floor lamp he loved, all gone. Nothing remained but raw space. Luna hovered at the threshold, afraid to step inside in her stilettos. The tiles were ice cold and there wasn't a spare slipper in sight. Preston, is this really renovation? She asked, voice trembling. He didn't answer. He strode to the wall switch and flicked it. Lights flared, soulless builder-grade fluorescence. The room looked like a morgue, every corner sliced by cold white. I watched the monitor in a cafe near the gate, phone in hand, and smiled. Yes, I stuck around. I needed to witness the moment he realized. He tore through the rooms, living, bedroom, study, kitchen, all identical in their emptiness. Serena, he finally exploded, the name echoing off bare drywall. Luna flinched, retreating a step. Preston yanked out his phone to call, then froze. On the coffee table sat the only objects I'd left, a tablet and a neat stack of paper. He picked up the file. Divorce agreement. The 5 words stared back, my signature already dry. His hand shook. I felt my heart hammer. I'd waited forever for this frame. He set the papers down and lifted the tablet. The screen woke to a PowerPoint title slide, Vance CEO offboarding handover. I'd spent an entire afternoon designing it, font, palette, layout, my perfect executive summary of 3 married years. He tapped to page 1. Due to Vance's unilateral breach, 1st.He project is terminated ahead of schedule. All non-OEM soft furnishings have been depreciated and liquidated, proceeds donated to A City's home. Wishing Vance happiness. He blinked. Luna leaned in, complexion gray. Page 2, an inventory, sectional sofa, retail $80K, depreciated $60K, solid wood dining table, retail $50K, depreciated $30K, imported mattress, retail $120K, depreciated $90K, 60 entries, total recovered $2.86 million, donation receipt attached. Page 3, a spreadsheet of every household bill, utilities, HOA, maid service, groceries, each tagged paid by Serena. At the bottom, bold red, Vance's contribution to household expenses over 3 years, $0. Preston's face drained of color. He swiped frantically to the last slide. One line centered, thank you, Vance, for 3 years of indifference, proof that some people truly don't deserve love. Serena, he roared, speed dialing me. I watched the incoming call and declined. He dialed again, I declined again. 3rd time I powered the phone off. On screen, he stood frozen, arm extended, the network voice intoning, the number you have reached is no longer in service. Luna inched closer. Preston, maybe we should check into a hotel. Shut up. He flung her hand away, rage crackling. I closed the laptop and sipped my latte. The show has only started, Preston. You think it's over? It's barely begun. Preston stared at the cavernous mansion, the veins at his temples pulsing. She's just throwing a tantrum, she must be somewhere nearby, waiting for me to coax her back. He muttered the reassurance aloud, turned to Luna, and forced a smile. Don't worry, Luna. Serena talks sharp but she's soft inside, she'll be fine tomorrow. Go rest in the bedroom, I'm taking a shower. Luna bit her lip, nodded, and clicked down the hall in her stilettos. Preston pushed open the bathroom door, habit making him start to sit, but his backside met air. The smart toilet seat was gone, only cold porcelain left. He sprang up, looked down, Ev. And the heating element had been pulled. She took this, too? Furious, he yanked on the shower, desperate to wash the night away. When he slid the storage cabinet open, it was as barren as a freshly finished renovation site. A single relic lay in the corner, a lonely bar of Safeguard. He picked it up and squeezed, hard as a rock. He'd bought it 3 years ago, used it twice, decided he hated it, and tossed it aside. Serena had later switched to some imported hand-milled soap. He couldn't remember the name, only that every shower had smelled like a greenhouse. Now every fragrance was gone, not even body wash remained. Preston twisted the valve. Cold water slapped him in the face. He shivered, hunted for a bearable temperature, rinsed hastily, and emerged wrapped in a towel. He slept terribly, the mattress felt like plywood, the pillow lumpy. At 6:30 the next morning he blinked awake and automatically swept his hand across the nightstand, nothing. He jerked upright. Every dawn a glass of lukewarm water had waited there, temperature perfect, neither scalding nor cool. Beside it had been his blood pressure pills, sorted by date into a tiny dispenser. Now, emptiness. Serena, he barked. No answer. The bedroom door opened, Luna padded in wearing his white dress shirt, hem skimming her knees. Rubbing her eyes, she mumbled, Preston, is there coffee? I want some. Looking at her, he felt a nameless irritation. Serena had worn his shirts, too, but she'd belt them, crisp and capable. Luna's sagging silhouette only reminded him of last night's hollow corridors. Go check the kitchen yourself, he muttered, throwing off the duvet. Luna pouted her way downstairs. Moments later her voice rang out, Preston, how does this coffee thing work? Preston, already on edge, stalked into the kitchen. The machine was still there, Serena's 6-month-old Italian semi-automatic. He knew only that every morning a cup of fresh ground appeared. How, he'd never asked. You don't know how to use tea? Luna batted her lashes. He swallowed. Wait, I'll find the manual. He rifled every drawer, empty. Luna started pressing buttons at random. Strange whines came from the machine. Just as he reached to stop her, boom, grounds erupted from the portafilter, dusting the entire kitchen. Luna shrieked and jumped back. Preston stood amid the brown snowfall, the PPT from last night flashing in his mind. He returned to the living room, snatched his tablet, flipped to Chapter 2. Equipment Operation SOP. He tapped it open. Dense bullet points detailed a dozen appliances, from espresso maker to dishwasher, oven to robot vacuum. At the bottom blazed red, operated solely by Serena, Vance not liable for explosions caused by incorrect handling. He stared, knuckles whitening around the tablet. The doorbell rang. Preston opened it to find Connor, his assistant, clutching 2 large shopping totes. The man blinked. Vance, aren't you coming to Vance today? It's already 8. Inside first. Connor set the bags down. They held emergency clothes Preston had ordered overnight. Preston pulled out a suit and a tie, navy with red stripes. Connor glanced at it, hesitated. What? Preston snapped. Nothing. Connor lowered his head. It's just, sir, the missus used to send a full week's outfits to the office every Monday, cufflinks matched. I didn't know what to take last night, so I grabbed anything. The tie in Preston's hand suddenly looked obnoxious. He dressed and was halfway out when his phone rang. Vice President of Sales. Vance, trouble. Hung Tai, Yuan Jing, and the newly signed Starray all emailed this morning to terminate. What? Preston's face changed. Why? They said the person who handled day-to-day contact has quit, so the deals can't continue. Contact person? He frowned. I closed those myself. When did we hand them off? A pause. Sir, don't you remember? For the past 3 years all follow-up has been. Vance. She took gifts every month, remembered birthdays. Star. Ray's Johnson even called to praise her last time. Preston's hand froze around the phone. He groped for memories of those clients, but beyond the signing ceremonies they were blank. When did she start doing that? She's always done it, sir, the VP said, puzzled. Didn't you tell her to take care of them? Had he? Preston couldn't recall. He ended the call, looked again at the deserted mansion, and felt an unexpected chill. 04 The instant Preston pocketed his phone his stomach began to ache, an old stress ulcer. Pressing a palm to his gut, he yanked the nightstand drawer, expecting the bottle of German Iberogast. Empty. He tried the bathroom medicine cabinet. Also bare, not a cotton swab left. He remembered the PPT, strode to the living room, opened the tablet to Chapter 5. Healthcare Maintenance. Page 1 was a spreadsheet, stomach drops, BP pills, vitamins, fish oil, each brand, country of origin, vendor site logged. Beside the drops, Iberogast, monthly overseas order, short shelf life, keep refrigerated. Stock depleted, obtain refill yourself. In small red print, 80K spent over last 3 years, all advanced by Serena. Preston stared, the cramp worsening. Every time pain had flared, the bottle had simply appeared, a glass of warm water beside it, natural as oxygen, as unnoticed. Now the supply had vanished with its ghost provider. His phone rang again, VP of Sales. I asked HR to pull the client files, the man said heavily. 3 years, sir. Hung Tai CEO Wang. Serena sent a custom Yixing teapot set every birthday, he's a tea buff. Yuan Jing's Lu. His daughter's allergic to shellfish, so she double-checked menus before every dinner. Starray's Zhang. When his son got into Tsinghua last year, she mailed a set of rare classics. Preston's head buzzed. How did I not know? You told her to handle client relations, the VP replied, cautious. I said that? Preston searched his memory, blank. He ended the call and sagged onto the marble floor. The doorbell chimed. He opened. Dia to Luna holding a thermal flask, smile bright. I made you soup, Preston. I'm going to Vance, he said wearily. I'll come. She looped her arm through his. I can help. He meant to refuse, but her expectant look wore him down. He nodded. 2 hours later, lobby of Vance. Luna, flask swinging, trailed him into the elevator. 2 employees were already inside, a Chanel-suited matron gossiping with a colleague. So the rumor's true? Vance's wife is divorcing him, she murmured. I rather liked her. We had a lovely chat at last month's charity auction. Luna's cheeks twitched, she leaned forward with a bright grin. Hi, I'm Vance's girlfriend. The woman blinked, raked her gaze over Luna, lingered on the dented flask, then curved a thin smile. Oh, really? Unfazed, Luna chirped, are you a client? Anything you need, come to me from now on. The smile vanished. I'm not a client. I'm Brown, my husband's on the board. Silence swallowed the elevator. Luna flushed crimson, speechless. Brown stepped out when the doors parted, heels clacking. Over her shoulder, I told Chin partnering with a man who can't even keep his wife was a bad bet. Preston, frozen inside, was icily pale. The moment he reached his office the phone rang again, board member Chen himself. Vance, my wife is furious, Emma said, voice unreadable. She says if Vance doesn't personally apologize, our new joint project is dead. Brown, isn't this a bit? My wife made it clear, she only acknowledges Vance. Brown cut him off. Figure it out yourself. The line went dead. Preston gripped the phone, the pulse at his temples leaping. He opened the contacts, scrolled to Serena's number, and dialed. Sorry, the number you have reached has been disconnected. Preston froze. She'd even killed the number? He drew a slow breath and called the private investigator. Find someone for me, he said, voice low. No matter the cost, I need to know where she is. 3 days later the detective sent a single text. It was a photo. Say. Rena stood center stage in a sweeping black gown, every spotlight trained on her, radiant. Beside her loomed a man in a razor-sharp suit, profile chiseled. Underneath, Serena debuts as mysterious creative director Ching at ultra-luxury lifestyle launch. Flanking her, Eastbrook's most enigmatic power, Chase, eldest son of the Harrington dynasty. Preston stared until the glass of the screen creaked under his whitened knuckles. 05 I stood at the heart of the launch, applause thundering around me. First time ever appearing as Ching. For 3 years I'd hidden inside the label Vance, a shadow no one noticed. Tonight the shadow stepped into the light. Detouring isn't about dodging life, it's about seizing back the freedom swallowed by endless mundane labor, I said into the mic, voice cool and steady. Preston glared from the audience, eyes bloodshot, suit a mass of wrinkles, he looked like a refugee freshly dug out of rubble. The man probably couldn't reconcile the apron wife who used to reek of cooking oil with the woman blazing on stage. The instant the talk ended he cornered me backstage. Serena, are you done throwing your tantrum? He reached for my arm, I sidestepped. Phone cancelled, mansion emptied, what exactly do you want? I took a sanitizing wipe from Mia and dabbed the cuff he'd brushed. Vance, my consulting rate is $50,000 an hour. Card or wire transfer? He froze, incredulous. I'm your husband. You're billing me? The minute the papers were signed we became strangers. I lifted my gaze, amazed I'd ever been blind. You thought I was rehearsing a romance? Don't flatter yourself, Preston. His voice shook. Then what were those 3 years? All the things you did for me? Payback. My smile was ice. Your grandfather begged me, dying, to watch over you, said you could earn but not live. I was repaying his college scholarship. I was a stay-at-home, not indentured staff. Debt cleared, shift over. Preston went rigid, face paper white. My obedience had low. Okayed like love, in reality it was a contract of gratitude. Serena, the car's ready. Chase appeared, sliding an arm around my shoulders. Half a head taller than Preston, the natural command in him iced the air. Chase? Preston recognized the one man in Eastbrook you don't challenge. Chase didn't even gift him a glance, simply took my bag. Victory dinner awaits. Thanks, Vance, for releasing her. Only in your household could a talent like Serena be used as a housemaid, talk about wasting natural resources. I walked away without looking back. At 2 a.m. Preston stumbled into the hollow mansion. He sat on the cold imported marble tiles and, by bleak moonlight, reopened the tablet. A hidden attachment lurked at the end of the PPT, 7 words, Observations on Preston, Volume 1. He tapped it open. 3 years of neglect glared back, year 1 birthday, prepped 3 days, he jets to Paris with Luna, tells me to share the cake with neighbors. Year 2 fever, 102 degrees Fahrenheit, he tells me to cab to St. Hospital, he's viewing a gallery with Luna. Year 3, wire transfer of 5 million with Be Good, Don't Bother Me and First. Last page, 1 scarlet line, love balance, 0. Uninstalling system. Preston cupped his face and, in that empty concrete shell, howled like a cornered animal. 06 alone in the stripped mansion Preston began reconstructing Serena's daily trail like a madman. He searched the shopping histories of imported ingredients, tried duplicating every dish. Pages of Latin plant names he couldn't pronounce stared back. He flicked on the espresso machine, coffee spewed across the counter. Breakfast, eggs blackened, toast charred, bags the only salvation. He hung soggy cashmere on a wire hanger. The misshapen sleeves reminded him of her hands, those elegant, capable hands that had guarded every comfort he wore. The doorbell rang. Luna stood with luggage, smile ingratiating, white dresses replaced by a black skirtsuit and Serena-style low ponytail. "I've learned lattes," she chirped, fumbling knobs. "And your favorite matsutake stew, enough." His voice was sub-zero. "Leave. Preston, I came for you, for my wallet." A humorless laugh. She cared about me. Get the difference? Luna fled in tears. On the sofa Preston reached for a cigarette, found even the ashtrays gone. His phone buzzed. Board secretary. "Vance, emergency board meeting tomorrow 2 p.m. mandatory." Next afternoon the conference room felt like court. Shareholders stared as though he were a felon. Hengtai, Vision, Starlight, all cancelled this week, Chairman Chen slammed. Stock down 15% in 5 days. Explain. Preston sat mute. Word is Serena kept our key accounts alive, another said coldly. Now her brand Qing dominates lifestyle. Her word outweighs yours. Davis of Hengtai said it plain, Chen added. He trusts Serena, she understands taste and people. You? You sign contracts, nothing more. The verdict, bring Serena back, cooperation, employment, anything, otherwise step down. Preston left the tower hollowed. In his car he opened Serena's latest post, a sleek loft blueprint, minimal, airy, luxurious. Caption, new loft loading, new life launching. In the corner of the shot, Chase's profile. He phoned the investigator. Address. Now. 3 hours later he stood outside a glass high-rise clutching a share transfer document. Wrong codes twice, finally the elevator spat him onto the 18th floor. He pressed the bell. Chase opened in sweats, tape measure in hand. Vance? I need Serena, Preston croaked. Serena, visitor, Chase called, stepping aside. I walked out, tablet displaying a 3D walkthrough of the new loft. No emotion registered. Vance, business? Preston's eyes were crimson. He offered the folder with both hands. I was wrong. Come back, partnership, anything. These are all my shares. Save Vance, I beg you. I flipped the papers, tossed them onto the coffee table. Sorry, schedule's full. Serena, he dropped to his knees. Please, Vance, I cut in. Calm as weather chat, the mansion is listed. Bad feng shui, kills wives. He knelt frozen. Chase slid an arm around me. Serena, the designer's waiting on that facade. I nodded, didn't even spare Preston another glance, and turned into the study. The moment the door clicked shut I heard a stifled sob from the living room. So what? Affection that shows up late is cheaper than weeds. 07 Preston sat in the echoing mansion, an old book in his lap. He had unearthed it from the farthest corner of the storage room, dust thick as felt, the spine cracked. He fanned the pages, a medical report slipped out. Patient, Preston, male, 28. Vehicle collision caused retinal detachment, bilateral temporary blindness. The line froze him. He remembered the crash 3 years ago, waking to perfect black. Someone had sat bedside, spoon-fed him, coaxed him to speak. He'd always assumed it was Luna. Because afterward Luna had claimed she'd kept vigil the entire month, never leaving. Yet the book belonged to Serena. His hands began to shake. On the flyleaf, in her neat script, Preston, don't be afraid. I'm staying right here. Serena. He bolted upright, rushed back to the storage room, and tore open every carton. Photos, daily journals, Serena's footprints everywhere. One notebook chronicled those hospital days. Day 3, he still sees nothing. I squeeze his hand and say it'll pass, he cries. Day 7, he craves my cooking. I sneaked home, made matsutake stew, brought it cold, he still said it was delicious. Day 15, doctor says recovery looks good, sight may return soon. I'm happier than he is. Day 30, his eyes open. He looks at me and says, who are you? Reading the last line felt like a blade to his heart. It came back to him. That morning 2 women stood in the ward, one in a white dress, long hair, honeyed smile, one in a black tee, hair a mess, eyes swollen. He had asked the woman in black, who are you? Luna stepped in before Serena could answer. Preston, it's me, Luna. I've taken care of you for a month. Serena said nothing, turned, and left. Preston sank to the floor clutching the notebook, cried like a child. The rain poured. He stood beneath Serena's loft, drenched, having called and texted countless times, all swallowed by silence. Rain or tears, he could no longer tell. He replayed her hospital vigil, every meal she had cooked, every shirt she had pressed. He had branded those kindnesses routine and her devotion cheap. Only now did he realize mundane dailies were the truest treasure, and he had smashed them himself. He stayed in the storm till dawn. A passerby found him fevered at 104. At St. Hospital, half conscious, he caught fragments of conversation. No family contact? The nurse asked. There is, came Serena's calm voice, but I'm not it. He tried to open his eyes, lids like lead. That Vance paid your bill and left, the nurse whispered. She called it her final humanitarian gesture. When he finally pried his eyes open, sunlit emptiness greeted him. On the nightstand, a slip in Serena's hand, Vance, medical expenses settled. From now on look after yourself the way I did these 3 years. He clutched the note, tears unstoppable. 3 days later he was discharged. Connor waited at the curb and handed him an invitation. Vance's launch party. Wednesday, Grand Eastbrook. On the cream card, a single clean logo, Ching. He stared till a laugh tore out of him, tears falling with it. Connor, he said, eyes suddenly clear, draw up a document. What kind? Equity transfer. I'm giving Serena 51% of Vance. Connor gaped. Sir, it's my last bargaining chip. If this can't bring her back, I'm sentenced for life. He gazed outside, the sky had cleared. But he knew certain things, once lost, never return. 08 Preston rented 3 full blocks of Eastbrook's priciest shopping avenue. White roses paved the street from curb to curb. Every 10 yards a towering billboard showed him on his knees under the words, Serena, I was wrong, give me one more chance. He hired 20 media crews, cameras ready to livestream the proposal of the century. Ruthless move, Vance, Connor muttered. Preston adjusted his tux, confidence blazing. She values face, she'll come back. Drones hovered, lenses trained on the red carpet stage stacked with champagne towers and roses. At 5 sharp the crowd rippled. A black Bentley glided to the carpet. I stepped out in white silk, hair in a chignon. Chase, tailored to perfection, rested a proprietary hand at the small of my back. Preston's smile shattered. He stared at Chase's hand, eyes bloodshot. Serena, listen, I took the mic from an assistant. Thank you, Vance, for the grand gesture, I said to the cameras, but please stop harassing my fiancé. He's the jealous type. Gasps detonated. Reporters surged. Vance, who is your fiancé? I turned, Chase lifted my left hand, flashing the solitaire to the lenses. Preston's face strained. You're joking, right? You can't, I never joke, Vance. I signaled, the rear screen lit up with a voice memo. Preston, 3 years ago, voice like ice, Serena, cut the drama. I'm accompanying Luna to an exhibit. It's business, grow up. On the recording my sob, Preston, I just left ST, the doctor said, enough, not now. Click. Next clip, Preston, irritated, Serena, what now? Dinner with Luna, so what? You're overreacting. My small voice, today is our anniversary. So? I wired 500 grand. Be reasonable and stop the paranoia. Click. Clip after clip, 3 years of cold slaps. Whispers became a roar, camera swung to Preston. He stood corpse pale. You know what I tried to tell you that night? I asked, voice glacial. I'd just been diagnosed with mild depression. You hung up, Luna's art show mattered more. Gasps, flashes. You never noticed I declined overseas design offers for you, polished your client relationships, or sat lonely at dinner past midnight. I inhaled, smiled bright. No matter, done. Chase slipped a protective arm around me. Edie of friends, one more announcement, I said evenly. Next 15th, Chase and I will hold our engagement gala at Grand Eastbrook. Press is welcome. The strobes exploded. Also, my label Ching unveils its new line, collection title, Reborn. I paused. A toast to endings and beginnings. Sleek furniture renders filled the screen, minimal, luxe, uncompromising. Preston knelt on the dais, soul scooped out. He reached as I walked away on Chase's arm, his legs wouldn't obey. Rose petals carpeted the pavement, champagne towers caught the sunset. But the spectacle felt exactly like a funeral. What had just been buried was the last of his pride and hope. 09 When the board meeting adjourned, rain was already falling outside. I stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, watching Preston's silhouette below stagger through the downpour like a man whose soul had been vacuumed out. Vance, here's the Vance's stock chart. Mia handed me the tablet, a crimson line plunged straight off a cliff. 3 consecutive limit-down days, 23 billion in market cap vaporized. I glanced, then slid the tablet back. Not my problem. The Vance shareholders just called. Preston's been removed as CEO. She paused. They're begging you to come back as consultant, eye-watering fee. Decline. I turned toward my desk. Let them hire someone else. I'm no saint, no savior. The Vance's life or death doesn't cost me a single cent. My phone rang, unknown number. Serena, it's me. Preston's voice sounded shredded. Can I see you? I hung up and blocked the number. When Preston returned to the empty mansion, night had already fallen. He didn't switch on the lights, he simply sat on the living room floor, staring at the nail holes stippling the walls. Those holes had held Serena's chosen paintings, Monet's water lilies in the living room, Van Gogh's sunflowers in the dining room, Chi Bischer's shrimp in the study. He had never noticed before, now the holes, perfectly aligned and measured, felt like punctures in Hi's own chest. He opened the tablet and clicked into the PowerPoint, home use instruction manual. He paged through until 15 slid into view. Spare remote is in the second drawer under the living room sofa. Use it if the main one's missing. P.S. You always leave the remote in the bedroom, so I bought 3 backups. Page 23. Simmer the matsutake chicken on low simmer for 3 hours, no rushing. You're busy, so I've stewed and frozen portions. Reheat on low, high flame kills the nutrients. Page 37. Lay the cashmere coat flat to dry, hanging will stretch it. Hand wash the silk ties. They're already laundered and folded on the left side of the closet, third shelf. Every slide glowed with her cautious, meticulous love. Each note distilled 3 years of watching, learning, caring. Preston stared until tears dripped onto the keyboard, one splash at a time. He had trampled that love beneath his shoes for 3 years, only now did he realize it was the rarest gift life had ever handed him. Chase's apartment glowed warm. I sketched at the desk while he cooked in an apron. The extractor hummed softly, spatula tapping the wok, a domestic music. Serena, taste. He carried over a bowl of matsutake chicken soup. Your recipe. I sipped, it was perfect. Better than mine. You're the one who taught me. He sat across, watching me draft. When does the new line drop? Next Wednesday. I looked up. You'll come? Wouldn't miss it. His smile was soft. I'm ready to be your chief experience officer. I smiled back. For 3 years I'd lived as a shadow, now, stepped into the light, I finally know how it feels to be treasured. Moonlight streamed through the window, stretching our silhouettes long and intertwined. When the courier rang my doorbell I was sorting press kit files. Mia signed, tore the envelope, and froze. Vance, this is. I walked over. A red booklet lay inside, the divorce certificate. Beneath it, a stack of transfer deeds, villa, cars, equity, very thing he could sign away. A sticky note on top bore his handwriting. Serena, these were always yours. Sorry I woke up too late. I studied the note for 3 seconds, then fed it to the shredder. Mia, return the package. I headed back to my desk. Tell him I don't want them. But these are what I wanted, he destroyed 3 years ago. My voice stayed calm. The rest is just paper. I opened my laptop and began drafting my launch speech. The desktop photo glowed, Chase's arm around me, my laughter caught midair. This is the life I choose. 1 year later, Ching is the hottest lifestyle brand nationwide. I sit in my office, watching the steady stream of shoppers below, heart quiet. In 12 months we've marched from Eastbrook into 15 cities, monthly revenue breaking records every cycle. Mia knocks, invitation in hand. Vance, the International Home Show wants you as keynote. I skim and pass it back. Decline, next month I'm on sabbatical. Her gaze drops to my gently curved belly, she grins. Understood. I'll inform them. At 5 sharp Chase arrives, thermos in hand. Fresh chicken soup, drink while it's hot. I taste, it's flawless. You're about to outcook me. Learned from the best. He circles my waist, protective. Cravings tonight? I'll hit the market. Whatever you make, I'll devour. I lean against him, cherishing the feeling of being cradled. We drive to the mall for baby things, he won't let me lift a finger. Outside a cafe I suddenly crave lemonade. He settles me by the window and heads to the counter. While I wait, the street feels heavy with eyes. I scan across the road, black sedan, windows opaque. I shrug it off. Chase returns, sliding into the seat. Checkups booked for next week, I'll be there. Don't you have a crucial meeting? Postponed. He laces my fingers. Nothing tops you. I smile, warmed. Inside that sedan Preston sits rigid, knuckles white around the returned black card he's carried like a bad joke for a year. Serena is pregnant. Aunt. Her smile is radiant, Chase's hand on her shoulder is reverent. The sedan pulls away at his quiet command. Back at the mansion, empty an entire year, he flicks on lights. The nail holes still freckle the walls like scars. He opens the safe and withdraws the handover checklist, printed and locked away 365 days ago. He can recite every bullet. Living room switch, left side after entry. Matsutake chicken, low simmer, 3 hours. Cashmere, lay flat, silk ties, hand wash. Line after line of her 3-year syllabus of love. Preston sinks to the floor, clutching those pages like talismans. He knows she won't return. She has a new life, someone who treasures her, a baby on the way. All that's left for him, hollow rooms and a cabinet full of ghosts. His phone buzzes, corporate liaison. He powers it off. In the past year the Vance installed a new CEO, numbers are crawling back. The board keeps an advisory chair warm for him, but he shows up only when the emptiness chokes him. Luna vanished, rumor says she married a trust fund heir and fills her feed with handbags and sports cars. He looked once, then blocked her forever. He finally sees, Serena loved the man, Luna loved the money, yet he had it backward. Pulled moonlight pools on the safe, mirror bright. Preston studies the checklist and suddenly laughs until tears run, because some people, once missed, are missed for life.